Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Two Legs. This is episode 273. We are a Paul McCartney podcast, mainly dealing with the solo career of Paul McCartney. I'm one of your two co hosts, Tom Haniati, and joining me is my partner in crime, my backwards traveler. He is Andy Nichols, my friend. Andy, we're back. How you doing?
Doing well, Tom, and nice to be back here and just do a really kind of casual, fun chat between you and I for this
Yes.
episode.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. We're going to be doing a questionnaire about collecting from friend of the show, Nick Syretz. And you got to see a couple shows in the old UK with Nick, right?
We absolutely did. It was Nick. Nick is a treasure trove of one word hot takes out of the blue. Could be walking down the street and he'll just pop you with a random question and he'll be like, take it away or so bad. Like there's no rhyme or reason to what he says and what he asks, and it's just great because it generates great conversations between all of us as friends, which continues to this very
Right.
day on WhatsApp. Just about every day, our little WhatsApp. But Nick is great for that, and we thank him for this suggestion today for this
Right,
topic.
because right, because we have talked a little bit about collecting here and there, mainly when we're live with other friends that we've had on the show. But this is just a really easy, direct questions about collecting, and it's been a while since we've talked about collecting, so this is going to be fun, like you said. And when we answer these questions, please in the comment section give us your
All
answers as
right,
well.
good times coming in.
Time, good times coming in. That's right.
Feel the sun shining,
That's
shining, shining. Feel the sun
right.
shining in on you.
On you. There you go, my friend. There you go.
All right, let's do some
So,
collecting
question here
chat.
from Nick. Yeah, let's do a collecting chat. First question, Nick, that Nick proposed to us is a fun little question, and one that I don't know if we've ever really explained on the show. And it's explain your philosophy for collecting, Andy Nichols. What do you take in consideration? What's your thought process from all
Um,
this collecting that you've been doing for so long now?
that's a tough question because it's not a simple answer.
Right. No, it's not.
Collecting changes on where you are in your life at the time, and what you want to get. When you're first starting out, you're a kid. You have pocket money. You're saving up for vinyl or cassettes or CDs back in our day to get stuff. So your perspective and attitude towards collecting changes, right? Because of what's out there, and I guess you want to just
Right.
start with you want to just start with CDs and you want to just get the main albums, right, and get those down. But I do think at our core, we all want to collect the core of everything, and then where we go into different tangents and stuff like that of to the levels and the depths, that's a whole other thing. But I think generally at our core, we want the main canon of everything and the best quality of what we can get. Um, Over the years, it's evolved. In the last decade, it's gotten off the charts. I mean, I've been fortunate to be where I am. My dad had a collection of records, but like probably 100 total. I just took it to the next level and wanted to just explore more. Then you're talking about like labels and formats and versions. That was like years down. So it's hard to explain a philosophy for collecting. It's that we love the music. Number one, the
Right.
music is what we
First
love.
and foremost.
we
Yes.
we love the music and we're infatuated with it, so we want to look at another pressing of a record and say, okay, well, I've got this one, but now the same music's available on another format, little different label, whatever. That becomes like, I think you evolve as a collector too. Your tastes change, your interests
Good point.
change, right?
Yes.
So it's not it changes and it ebbs and flows over time. So it really isn't. I don't think. Listen, I'm not a completist. I'm like a just about everything but XYZ. I mean, you and your 45, which is a wonderful dive into collecting all worldwide releases of picture sleeves, which is a niche. It's a niche collecting habit of what you
Hmm.
do, of what you're into. So I think it's the philosophy is you get what you want to get during what the time of what you're into, what you can afford. Number one, right? We all want to have butcher sleeves and back to the egg picture discs for 4,000 pounds, but it ain't. Guess what? It
Right.
ain't happening. But that would be my philosophy. Yours?
Well, I was thinking about this the last couple of days, and I was trying to, think about the easiest way to explain it. And I'm just like, well, if I don't have it, I want it. Like that's the easiest way to say it. But to your point, it's just like it just depends on the time, really. I mean, you could have a different philosophy at one point in your life, and then it could change maybe 10 or 15, maybe even 5 years down the line. It could easily change just depending on your financial situation, really. I mean, listen, like you said, when we were kids, right, and we had a little bit more change, we had less responsibility in our life. I was a huge comic collector. That was like the first thing that I was collecting with my own money.
Comics.
I had my paper route. I was a huge comic collector, and half of that would be saved, and the other half would go to the comics, and then you slowly start, then getting into Beatles like I did, and then all of a sudden now I had to have the CDs, and then even then I was getting vinyl and CD, and sometimes cassettes as well. So even then
If
I
you
was
could.
like really getting all three different mediums that I could get. So and then it just slowed down a little bit and just came to, okay, what is the one medium that just best suits me? And at that time it was CDs, right? So that's just the only thing that what I was getting was just the CDs. Okay. So but yeah, like you see your point, it just depends on the time, it depends on where you are in life, and that's it really. And then really
And
I've
it
come to the point now where it's like if I don't have it, I want to find a way to get it.
if and then somebody might have something that was never on your radar, and then that
Right.
person gets it, and you're like, I never would have thought about that, but now I freaking want it.
Right. Exactly. So, and when I was live last week, I was showing the Tumbleweed Connection splatter vinyl, and Joan was like, "Oh my God, I don't have that. Where can I get that?" And I told her where to get. And that's like one of the problems with this is because we all enable each other. We all support the habit, right? But
Enabler.
yes,
We're talking to
yes,
you, boy and Archer. You,
yes,
you are our son from down under. Man, that kid will just message us and say, "Have you got this? It's only going
right.
for 45 pound." Blah, 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 blah. And then
And
we're
then
like,
him and yes,
boom, and then
and
there's
I'm
like 100
and
messages later.
Right, and I'm mad at him and Joan because they were getting the one thing that I don't have album-wise on vinyl. The one
Oh
thing,
yeah, yeah,
Rushes. That's the
rushes.
one thing I do not have on vinyl yet. So if anybody has a copy for Rushes they don't want, please email two
But
legs
like, but
at
like
G,
at
two
Gmail,
legs podcast at
yeah.
gmail.com.
But
Yes.
like something, even we're just talking recently, and we have about 8 more questions we're going to get through that Nick has here. But like
Right,
even like, but here's like a great example. Of this, the Liverpool Oratorio. Nick and I talked
right.
about that in recent weeks about Christian pop, and now and like how there's versions of it on vinyl. I've never had it on vinyl. Now I want it on vinyl. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, right. It could just take one person's view or philosophy on something to change your philosophy as well.
Right.
Just like that. Somebody's excitement is can be very addictive, right? I mean, your excitement for something could change the way I think about it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
Like I like a couple of years ago, you got Twin Freaks, and I was like, damn, I really
right.
wish I had that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get this, and with your help, I got it.
Yeah. That
But
was
that
fun.
it was, and he coached me through my
Right,
first eBay win. But like it was, things like that is where you feed off each other as collectors and
right.
fans, and that could be a philosophy too, because
Exactly.
it
Good.
really is.
Right. All right. You got the questions there too, or no? Do you want to
Yeah,
go back and forth?
we can go back and forth, sure.
Yeah.
So number two, how did you get the collecting bug?
Well, like I said, I mean, teenager, mid-teens, I think 14, I got a paper route, and then I started collecting comics, and that's where like the bug initially started. When it comes to McCartney, I think, like I said, I always had the CDs of everything, but 2015, my first record day, my first record store day, it was the Family Way was being sold
Right,
for that particular record store day, and the reason why that I thought about doing it was because David said it, text me and say, "Hey, look, if you can get this, get me one too." And it was my first record store day. I didn't know that you can only get one one particular. So they just happened to have two left when I got to the store, when I got to a Zia store. And I picked up two, and they were like, "Oh no, you can only get one." I'm like, "Okay." So then I asked the guy next to me, "Hey, can you buy this for me, and I'll give you the money?" And they were like, they were watching me like a hawk after that. So it's like I paid for the one, and then that kind of like slowly, and that was 2015. Okay, I had just gotten a turntable, so my vinyl collecting was slowly getting in, starting to work. So that's when I would say like this new renaissance of me collecting vinyl. That's when it really happened. Was that first record store day in 2015?
Wow, was that's kind of not that long ago.
No, no, not really. And then I mean, I've come a long way since then. I mean, I've got
In
a
10
lot of,
years,
I've caught
yeah.
up. Yeah, I mean, I've caught up on a
You
lot of things.
you have, and that's a quick. I mean, you've been because you were a CD guy for the '90s, a lot of it,
Right.
you know. So
And
now,
that's part of it too, because I see a lot of older collectors and the things that they've had, and I'm just like, man, how did I not know about that back then? Right.
it all
So,
depends on where you are and
right,
what your priorities are and what your focus is and what's on your radar. You know, it's just
right,
things passed me by because of where I was at my life at that point in time that I didn't
right.
realize it, or B, I couldn't afford it, and you just figure, you know, you just you don't get it and you move on, and then 5, 10 years later, you're like, you know what? There's that thing. I'm going to get it now.
Right.
For me, it started small. So the collecting bug for me started with reading. And reading and
Mm.
reading and reading and reading discographies and reading books, and here's a relic right here that I'm going to show you that I'm really proud of. And this, I spent so many hours reading this baby. This was given to me by my 8th grade English teacher. Okay,
Oh wow.
this is a beat
Yeah.
up copy of The British Invasion by Nicholas Schaffner. Okay, and
Mm.
it's just a general biography of like all the British invasion bands. Okay, Nicholas Schaffner, as you may or may not know, wrote the Beatles Forever book. He's also featured in the '82 documentary The Complete Beatles. And in these books of all these, now the Beatles, so the biggies are like the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, the Kinks, Floyd, T Rex. David Bowie, they all get significant chapters in here. But at the end of these chapters are discographies and chart placings, right?
Mm.
So I'm going to show you something really funny here. So like they've got all the Beatles stuff and the chart placings. Now these are American charts only, okay? Now remember, I got
Okay.
this in 1994, okay? I even wrote it on here. This is when I got it, and then
Be
so
careful. It looks like there's some pages that are a little loose there.
oh yeah, this is 30 some. This is 31 years old. So
Right.
you go through it, right? And then you look at this here, and this is how I really started. I'll try to show the McCartney singles here if they come up on the screen here. Let me know if you can see them here.
Yeah.
Hold
Yep.
on.
See it. Yep.
They come up sometime in New York City. Hold on. McCartney's over here. There, can we see Junior's Farm and Letting Go and all
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Letting
Yes.
Go, and that's giving you the year and the chart ranking for all these things, right? So, and then you see what's circled. That's what I was circling the titles as I got them. You see, McCartney,
Right.
Ram. At the time that I got the book, I didn't have Wildlife. You see, so I'm just
Hmm.
circling these things. So reading and learning the discographies of what was available was how I learned. Now here's something that's going to take you back. Okay, this is my handwriting here. Okay, Paul McCartney CDs that I need as of 2/3/95. Okay, look, look, Wildlife, Band on the
Right.
Run, Speed of Sound, Wings Greatest, Back to the Egg,
30
Press to
years ago,
Play.
my friend.
30 years, all the best. Flowers in the Dirt. Tripping. See, Tripping was still not checked off. Paul McCartney
Right.
CDs that I need as of 2/3/95. So this was like my Bible. I took this thing with me to school. It was like a textbook. And again, it was, and every artist you discovered, especially a British one, had a biography and a discography in there. So that's how you learned, what do I got to get? How am I going to get it? So, and again, we're talking the 90s, so it's really just vinyl is pretty much eliminated at that point. It's CD and cassette. Mainly, you're not going to the Wiz or Sam Gooding and buying vinyl in 1995. You're just
Right.
not doing it.
Right.
You know, so this was reading up on discographies and what was available. You know, at the same time, I'm reading the recording sessions by Lewison at the same time and learning about these outtakes. Then the anthology comes out, and you're like, wow. So it's like mind-blowing time of information and learning all this music. But without the books, I wouldn't have learned because, again, no internet yet. AOL is just starting. You know, you've got
Mm.
mail connecting the high-speed dial-up. Remember Remember that sound? God, it was annoying. You
Yes.
know, the mom picks up the phone. Now you're offline. Mom, you knocked me offline. Come on.
Yes.
Annoying. But yeah, literally, that was how you learn. Forums online,
Right.
rec.music.beatles, that's how you learn. Okay, there's something called Give Ireland Back to the Irish. How do I get that? So information for me was key because that was how we were able to read and learn about these things as we went through it. And then, okay, now Paul's releasing another album on vinyl. Now, like Flaming Pie is coming out. Now, okay, and that's really for me in the mid '90s is where everything started. I'm like, okay, anthology, I want it on vinyl, got it. And I was really, really fortunate because I have really, really caring and loving parents who bought a lot of these things for me as
Mhm.
Christmas gifts or as birthday gifts. Some of my pocket money I'd save babysitting or working jobs or whatever. I'd go and get it. But nine times out of 10, my grandmother bought it for me. My grandparents bought it for me. My parents did. So I was really, really blessed to have a really loving family who feeded
Excellent.
my addiction. But yeah, once we started, we haven't stopped since.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Um,
All right. Question three. It says here what your boundaries are.
Interesting. I'll be interested to hear your take on this one too. What are the boundaries of collecting? At this point in my life, it's I guess the dollar amount. What you're not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna spend $50,000 on some rare thing or $25,000 on some rare thing.
Right.
If something's a couple of $100 and you study it for a long time and you save for it, yeah, then maybe I get it. Um, my boundaries are financial right now, and within budget,
Right.
and I think that's pretty common sense for most people. Boundaries could mean financial. Does that mean like we're closing off ourselves to like we're not going to collect every maxi single of Ues the
Figure of eight.
Sole or Figure of
Yeah.
Eight
Right.
boundaries could mean a lot of things. Eventually, I mean, I know what are your boundaries, Tom? Like, where
Well,
are you?
again,
Like, I'm a hard
yeah.
no.
Right. It is financial in a way, but with when in 2019 when the Paul Camp announced that traveler's suitcase, and I learned about Affirm. I mean,
Mm.
that just made more things
Oh,
possible.
that
Really.
that
I mean,
that was a
listen,
game changer.
yes, Affirm was a big game changer because I mean, listen, I mean, we all know about, layaway, right? I mean, it's basically, what it is. I mean, or if you want to call it like a credit system, if you qualify for this Affirm, you can make, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 payments, just depending on how expensive this cost is. And then, I mean, if it's like a 4 or 5 month window from announcement to release, and you can have that thing paid off
You can have it
before
paid off before it even comes,
before it
which is
arrives. Right.
right, which is really cool. And I must say, and those of you that watch the show and watch me live know, Affirm is our religion, and it's
Yes.
the reason that I've gotten a lot of the more expensive things that have come out over the last year or two. Because I'm going to be on, I got the cube. It's sitting right back there. I affirm that. Baby.
Well,
So
listen, if it
you got
wasn't for Affirm, maybe I'm not able to get the singles collection that came out in
the
what
singles
2022.
collection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
The singles
So
collection. So that was a game changer, but it's still within reason.
right.
And let's be honest, if that wasn't the thing, I'm not forking down $1,300 for a Mind Games cube or a Harrison
Right.
crate. I'm not doing it. I
Right.
can't say, oh, here's $1,300. I want to go get that. But you're gonna let me pay it off in 6 months? Where do I sign?
Why not?
Even for a little,
Exactly.
even with a little interest, I'm fine with that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So God bless the firm.
Agreed.
Here's
What's next?
here's one that's interesting, which I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about. Why do you or why don't you open anything sealed?
Well, again, that just depends on what it is. Okay. I've got something here that I bought sealed, and I've determined, or I've just come to the conclusion that I'm just going to leave it sealed. Okay, and that's Wingspan on vinyl. Okay, it's
Oh,
sealed. It's
there
got the
you
high strength.
go.
At one point at the beginning of my collecting, I ripped off I see. Unseal it. I believe that everything should be played. If you're going to buy a record, it needs to be played. That's my belief. However, something special like this, or if I get a Rushes and it's sealed, you better believe I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave
You're
it
not
sealed
you're not going to
because
play that
it's
because it's too
also
rare.
it's too rare and it's also considered an investment sometimes as well. So this right here, I do in a way consider an investment. It is a rare release. So I guess I'm just gonna keep this one sealed for now. Will I change my mind some years from now? Probably. But yeah, so but 9 times out of 10, I'm opening them up and I'm playing them. I mean, I've opened every single McCartney 3 that I own, and I've
Yeah.
played all of them. And even the 333 third one that came out from Jack Black's, or not Jack Black, but Jack White's
Jack Black.
third man. Yeah, I know, right?
You mean like you mean the
Jack
really
White,
really rare, with the one
yeah,
that's only
the really
333
really
copies
rare
of?
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably would have cracked that open and played it.
Would you have?
Yeah, probably would have. But that being said, I also would have considered keeping it still as well. I mean, listen, people are still asking $1,300 for the, 13,
Ooh,
2,000, So,
that's
so
crazy.
yeah, again, it just depends on what it is.
What it is right now, what it is. Run Devil Run
Yes,
there for
yes,
everybody. Now you all know I just got Twin Freaks. Now Twin Freaks came sealed, and there was this big. We put in a Facebook post: should we open it? Should we not open? Joe Mayo's like, keep it sealed. No,
right.
I agree with you. I agree with Beatley Tone. I know Boyan said leave it sealed. You know what? I want to play that thing because I'm not looking at it as an investment. I want to play that record and I want to hear those mixes. I want to hear all that stuff
Right.
on vinyl, Now, however, in the case of other records, like I have 2 copies of Tripping the Live Fantastic. One I kept sealed, one I have opened. Same thing with the case of Flaming Pie. In 1997, in New York, I was able to get a copy, a British pressing of Flaming Pie. Parlophone label, okay? That was not sealed. Records from the UK back then did not come sealed.
Right.
They were not
Right.
sealed. That's why your copy of Wingspan is interesting, because I bought a copy of that around the same time, and it came from the UK and it was not sealed. So where did you get that? Is that has to be an American pressing?
I'll have to look, but I did get this at Ingroove.
So is it Parlophone or Capitol?
That's what I'm looking for. It says EMI Records.
No Capitol on
Yeah.
there at all?
No, there's no capital. No, it's Parlophone. I see the Parlophone label.
Wow,
Yeah,
so that's a
Parlophone.
sealed one from the UK. That must have changed
Yes.
because a lot.
Yeah.
This Run Devil Run, Driving Rain were all UK imports that I bought back in the day, and they were not sealed. The record stores in New York City just would get them and put them in the plastic and sell them that way. Which, whatever, they were in great shape. So I have that. I have one of those. But then at the same time, there was an American pressing, Capitol, of Flaming Pie that was sealed, which a couple of years ago, I gave away as a thank you to Ethan Alexanian
Right.
for the great artwork you see on our channel. But recently, thanks to Boyan, I found another copy of Flaming Pie sealed, and I wanted to replace it. So this is the Capitol one. So yeah, this one I'm gonna keep sealed because I have 2. So if you have 2, you keep one sealed, but within reason, right?
Yes,
Now
within reason.
within reason, right? Twin Freaks.
Especially from that I would say 90, from like off the ground up until like memory almost full, even up to new, all of that stuff. I mean, if you are a collector, you want to maybe even keep one to play and then keep one to seal, because that's the dry period of vinyl, right? Especially if you're a vinyl collector. I mean, that's the dry period right there. So they're going to be more rare at that time.
They were, again, off the ground. I bought it not in 1993, but I probably in 95 or 96 or even, and that was not
Right.
sealed. But I mean that's the time to get 2 and keep 1 if you can do that time. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that did that. So
Right.
that's interesting. Okay. You want to ask the next one?
Yeah,
This
okay.
is a funny one.
Number 5, do you always use white gloves?
No.
No, no, no white gloves needed. Yeah, I mean, I can understand maybe the question, because a lot of times you do see the black vinyl, you get your fingerprints, your hands not clean. So that's one thing. You just make sure you wash your hands before you
Well,
open,
plus,
especially like if you.
your
Yeah.
hands are so oily and stuff with so much. So
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and they could smudge up easily. No, I know like the
Right.
pristine collector would want to not have
Right.
smudges and stuff. And I've been careless sometimes with smudges, but I try.
Oh yeah.
I do the old t-shirt trick and just kind of buff it out. And but no, white gloves. No, we don't use white gloves.
No. Go ahead.
How do you organize things? Good question.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, this is, we were talking a little bit about this when I was live, but it's simple. Chronological order. When it comes to musicians, now it's different when I'm talking about my movie collection. I do those in alphabetical order. Okay. However, with artists, I do chronological order. So even when it comes to like compilations or soundtracks that McCartney is on, I'll keep them in chronological order from
Chronological,
like years.
absolutely.
Right. So like I think what Vanilla Sky came out, I think on vinyl came out in 2001, 2002.
Right.
If I remember correctly, that'll go right there, right in 2001, right next to Driving Rain. So I'll do it like that. But if I'm gonna have my whole collection out, obviously Genesis is gonna go in G, and then you go through chronological order.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Okay, so yeah, chronological is easy, but now there's been multiple pressings of these CDs. Now, do you keep them all the same?
Right.
So like in 1993, all of them got redone again. Now,
Right.
do you take the first issue of McCartney on CD and then the 93 and then the 2011 archive, and do you bundle them all
What I'll try to
together?
do, yes. So McCartney, all my copies of McCartney are
The
with
Columbia,
McCartney.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Columbia. So like, okay, so you got your Apple label, right? Then you got your Capitol label. You got your Columbia label. So I'll go like that. I'll try to keep them into like
So
the
you do keep the album titles together. Now I did that for a long time,
together.
and
Correct.
then I just got too much. So now what I
Yeah.
do is I just kind of keep the archives together. The archive reissues from some, but in chronological. I know it started with Band on the Run, but I started with McCartney and go to the present day, including Wings Greatest and all the
Right.
other and all those reissues. The 1993s I keep together because they're all together in like white labels. So I've changed it up, but everything else I've kept together pretty much chronologically
Right.
for the most part. Like, okay, like Ram, all 2 copies of Wildlife. The first, there's a couple, Red Rose Speedway, Columbia, Wings Over America, Capitol, Wings Over America.
Right.
As you kind of go, so I it's a little different. Like I'm a little bit mixed on that because there's so few. Like I have the 3 Columbias of Tug of War, Pipes of Peace, and Broad Street
Right.
with the Capitol issues, but the archive
Yeah.
ones are later. So it's a
I
little bit. It's not the same, but it's kind of it works.
I see where you're going. I can't do that. I can't put like my 25th anniversary of Band on the Run in 97. It's got to stay with the other Band on the Runs.
Well, no,
You know
that
what I
Band
mean?
on the Run, that's the true. No, Band on the Run 25th is with the other
Yeah.
Band on the Runs, but like the archive one is down the aisle for me.
Yeah, but I mean, but in hindsight, with your theory that you're talking about, that 25th anniversary should be in 97 because
It
that's when it
should.
was released.
It
Right.
should be in 99 actually. It
Right.
should be in
Okay.
nine
Thank you. Yeah.
it should be in
Yeah.
99. But again, I just kind of I look number one, it's a space issue, right? Where can I put these so
Right.
they're all going to
Yeah.
freaking fit? Number one. And number two, just how does it work? Like I can tell you right now, I am looking at my McCartney shelf, which I keep right here for the show, and like
Right.
the last couple of releases, like I'm all out of space. I got One Hand Clapping, I got Underdubbed, I got I
Right.
got the live reissues from 2019. Like it's kind of overflowing, and like I got to do something, and like he even overflows to the other side of the wall. So you try to keep it organized. Organization with an S is key, not a Z. Organization with an S is key. No matter how what your system is, whatever works for you is the way
Right.
is the way you're going to want to do it. I do
Perfect.
think most of us are
Exactly.
going to want to go chronologically. Um,
Yes.
or but some people take it to the nth degree and go, here's all my Columbias. Like last couple of years, you and I, for the most part, wanted to dive and get the Columbia vinyls, like because we love the
Right.
Columbia pressings, and I've got just about all of them. But like, there's Wings Over
Right.
America, on the Columbia, McCartney on
Columbia
Columbia.
label. Yes.
Right. We want
Right.
to come. We want. But now, right. But for my records. For my records, I'm using your theory. Like I've got all the Wings Over Americas together. I'm not taking the Columbias and bunching them. It's a matter of
Right.
using your space and making it work. I've got more space for my vinyl, so it's easier. But yeah, definitely organized. It's not scattered. It's not all over the place. But it's definitely organized for both of us as collectors for sure.
Right. The easiest, the place where I can find it the fastest. I mean, that's really how I'd like to do it. Okay. If I got like them all over the place, like the Columbias with the Columbias or the Capitals with the Capitals. I mean, I just want to go
You want to
in,
go to the
know where
title.
it's
You want
at,
to go to the.
and
And
just
that's
find it.
I
Yes.
give you
Yeah.
credit there. That's actually a little bit of you keep it, but there's something about the spines all matching too. Like right now, I'm looking at all the
Yeah, I hear
archives.
you.
You
Right.
know,
And it's
or
funny you say that because what with my movie collecting, there's the Criterion collection, the company the
yeah,
Criterion collection. Okay, now I keep those separate from all my other Blu-rays
because that's
because
Criterion because they
because,
have
well,
their
and they
yeah.
number them. They number the spine. I mean, each title has a number on it, so I kind of keep that in order with number. So yeah,
Um,
there is a method to everybody's madness, I guess.
yes. How many times have you accidentally bought the same thing?
I'm glad this question was on this list because it happens all the time, and it just happened. It
What
just
did you buy now?
happened. Well, I was like, "Oh, I need this." Okay, so I just picked it up. Now as I got the tracking for it, I realized, wait a second, I have this. What the frick am I doing? And it's this Let It Be
Oh, the Let It
from the
Be
Ferry Aid.
charity, the Ferry
Yeah,
Aid.
charity. And what I meant to get was the You'll Never Walk Alone Bradford City charity single. Okay, which Paul is on the B side, kind of like the Do They Know It's Christmas B side, where he's just talking
Speaking.
and he's part of the mess, he's speaking in the message way.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I had meant to buy. However, I got this. Now, if anybody wants this, they can see it. This is the Let It Be, like I said, the Let It Be Fairy Aid. And if anybody wants this, let me know. Email us at twolegspodcast@gmail.com. If you want this, I'll send it to you because I have one. I don't need it. I don't
That's
need two
nice of
copies
you.
of this.
I've done it a couple of times, not too often. I think like one time I think I might have bought a copy, because why not have 8 or 9 copies of London Town? I mean, just because
Right.
again, but like purposely going online and buying something on mistake, like I've bought plenty of albums because in my record buying habits, if I see a pretty good copy of London Town, that's $3 and it's in good
Right.
shape, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it, and that's why
Understood.
I have like 11 Rams and like 10 London Towns, because if it's $2 in a record store, and back in the day, that's how much they cost. So I would just grab them. So I purposely bought those copies just to file it and have a copy to give to somebody. Oh, it's a talking point. And I've given some copies of albums away to friends. Oh, okay, you
Right.
have it. You have it. But actually make a mistake and go, oh shit, I already have this. I don't think that's happened, which takes me to another point, sidetrack. We've talked about this. You and I have talked about this in the last week. We've talked about this with the Liverpool family a lot, and that's organizing your stuff through an app like Discogs, which
Right.
I have been doing
Discogs, yes.
2013. And it is I know Nick was on something else called Music Buddy. Boyan's on it. I know, Tom, you started doing it last week. It's a great resource to catalog your stuff. Discogs, it's basically just an online record store to buy from independent sellers, but you can also catalog your inventory. And if it's something in the last 25, 30 years,
Right.
it's going to have a
It says
barcode.
barcodes.
Has a barcode,
Right.
so just you scan it and put it in. The best thing about it is, yes, it's an app, but when you're on the web version, you can actually get your whole collection exported as an Excel spreadsheet, or I'm a Google person, so Google Sheet. And you can actually have that spreadsheet of all your stuff, and you can print it if you wanted to print it and have it. It's not just in the app. You can go onto your account and say, send me a spreadsheet
Right.
of my collection, and it'll tell you all the fields, the dates you added it, the how you graded it, like near mint, all that stuff. It's a great thing. Listen, a lot of all my Beatles and all my favorite artists are in there, but I have a ton of other vinyl that's old from the 60s and 70s, and that when you do stuff that doesn't have a barcode, that takes time. You've got to get the matrix label. You've got to
Right.
put the matrix
Yes.
label in to figure out what pressing it is, because every record has pressings that have
Different pressing plant.
all over the year. Like let's just take an album like a Beatles album like Revolver, okay? There's 500 pressings of that record over the course of 50 something of 50 55 60 years almost, right? So is it a 1986 pressing? Is it a
Right.
1971 pressing? I mean, it takes a lot of time to do that. So, but it is worth it, and it organizes your collection beautifully. And other than a little bit of a shipping snafu with Rockaway Records in
Right.
California, and no update on that yet still, but it's a great resource.
All right.
St. Clair Shores forever, baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's got to be rough. I'd be going out of my mind right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Well, sorry you're going through that, my friend. Okay, question 8. Why do you collect some categories and not others?
Um, Again, it based on what are you into currently? Like
Right.
a couple years ago, like I got a tape deck, and I've been wanting to pick up some cassettes as they come out, and if I see Paul McCartney's, like I know Driving Rain on cassette's pretty rare. I think you have a copy of that on cassette,
Yes,
right?
sealed. Sealed.
Sealed, right? So like, you're just gravitated towards it because, okay, I can get this for pretty cheap. I want to get it and play it. Some categories, not others. I have not been the biggest classical fan, but recently I'm starting to get the bug to get like Standing Stone on vinyl and get working class
Right.
and get working classical, which is and I could have bought that in 1999 too. And damn it, I should have now because of course it's a lot of money. So like the classical stuff, which I was not really into getting on vinyl, I kind of want to get on vinyl. The Fireman stuff, maybe one day. I know that you want Rushes so bad, and as a collector
Right.
and to get everything, it's just like we just said before, you want to buy records and play it. If I play Rushes, I'm not getting any musical enjoyment by putting that record on. I'm not. I'm
Well,
not going to put
yeah,
that
I
on
mean,
and have enjoyment.
I have the CD. I have the CD of it, so I'm fine with that. However, I do want it on vinyl, and
You
I
want it
do
on
want it
vinyl.
as yeah. I
Like
want
I
it
don't
because
have.
that
Yeah,
will make that's because I am kind of a completist in that sense. I want that because that's the last thing I need to complete
that
McCartney's, you know,
the fireman
canon.
stuff.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, yeah, the mashup stuff is different. The Twin Freaks, totally different. And Boyne, he said this morning, he said, you know what? It's been 20 years since Twin Freaks. That was like 2004 pre-show set list of how about like a new Twin? How about a
Right,
new mashup of stuff? So it's all it all depends. I mean, you and your 45s. That's something that you've been doing
yeah,
for a couple of years
yeah.
now.
And that's the thing is because it's just got to be now I could go and try to get every single one of them, but however I kept it to just with picture
Certain
sleeve,
picture
just
sleeves,
with picture sleeve. Now if
right?
it was like with the black sleeve with the little apple on top, I didn't want that. I wanted if it was
You want
just
if
the
it had a
picture
picture
sleeve.
sleeve, you were going to get it, and then
Right.
like I think
And
have you
exactly.
you're waiting on one from Israel now too. I think so.
Well,
Like
I got that one. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you
So
got
it's
it,
just
but it right.
yeah,
So that's a
yes.
really really cool collecting aspect that the average person wouldn't really do. Like what
Do,
you want
do,
to get
do, do.
you want to get international picture sleeves and,
Right.
and that have a unique photograph to them that make them a unique collecting piece
Exactly.
as a
Right.
McCartney fan and collector. In this
Right.
country, in Yugoslavia in 1973, they issued this as this, and this was the picture sleeve.
Exactly. And I have it.
Some of them are cringy, and you have it, and that's a really cool singular focused area to collect on stuff, and that's
Right.
really cool, and that I really applaud you for that because that's pretty awesome to tackle that and do it because it's takes a lot of time. It does.
Yeah. and it is a deep rabbit hole. I mean, we do, we talk about this from time to time, and the hole just goes and it goes and goes. And then with and okay, so and where do you take it? I mean, displays, right?
Oh,
I got
in
the off
store promo. Yeah,
it's
now
the
there now that's
promos.
now printed
That's a
material.
whole nother rabbit hole.
We're just
You
talking
know,
music now. I mean, in
right?
this house, I have probably as many books as I have albums. Actually, that's a lie. No, there's more records than books, but books on McCartney, literature, in-store
Right.
displays, promotional items, the dice, McCartney 3, the cube from New. I mean, you get things around like Tom's got the off the ground in-store promo. Um, on my wall on the other side of the room, I've got this lovely Egypt Station in-store promo.
Yes, the nice pro. Yeah.
You've seen it when you were here, right? You remember it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I love
You
it.
know,
I mean, I was able to get a Back to the Egg stand piece.
yeah.
I
Oh,
got
at the
the Tug
fest.
of War, and yeah, I mean, no, I got Pipes of Peace, and I got a Broad Street promotional
Right.
display as
That's
well.
another area of collecting. And it's like, well, we're and you got to be careful with that stuff because you haven't had a wall space, you see. So
Right.
where
Yes.
and records are one thing you can put if you have some cabinets, you put them on a record, but like things like that, paperphilia is that gets tough. To like, how do you hang something like that? I mean, it's awesome to look at, you know. And I see those Broad Street and Pipes of Peace in store displays, and I'm like drooling. I'm like, I want, I want, but where do I put?
Where do you put
And
it? Exactly. Right.
exactly. So like those are the back to the question, you know, a couple questions ago. What are the boundaries? Like want and need. You know, I
Right.
want that Pipes of Peace in store display. You know, but I really need, you know, this new vinyl come. I really need Twin Freaks on vinyl.
Right. Yeah.
That's how you gauge it. You know that,
Right. And
that
that's
that's
where I put the categories too, like posters for one category, right? I mean, I just scratched the surface with posters. Badges, I just scratched the
right.
surface with badges,
Badges.
so
We don't need no
badges.
stinking badges.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Right. So, like a couple of years ago, you kindly bought me a copy of the Venus and Mars Frisbee, which I look at
Right.
every day at my house. Like little things like that. I don't mind having as like display pieces in the house, right? You show something there like things like that. But like some
Right.
people take the memorabilia rabbit hole and they just that's all they do. I don't mind tipping my toe into the water with some of that stuff, but to go all in with that's crazy. Like you got the Red Rose Speedway Frisbee and you got me the Venus and Mars
Right.
Frisbee. Those things are pretty cool because they're rare, right? You know,
Yeah. Right. And
uh,
then you'll see other promotional pieces for like Wingspan, right? You see there's like a little puzzle thing.
yeah,
There's a kite. There's a kite, a promotional Wingspan kite,
right.
that I've seen surface on eBay from time to time.
I
Yeah,
mean,
so you see stuff
Christ, I hung the McCartney 3 die and the new
right,
light cube case as Christmas ornaments this year.
right,
I'm like, well, what else can I do
right.
with these, you know? So it's
Nice.
just it's funny where you dive into based on what you kind of think is cool, but maybe not all the way. But mainly, it's about the music, right? We're gonna buy these. We want the records and the CDs to varying degrees of completism. You know, more than the others. I think that Tom is definitely probably more of a completist than I am because he wants all that stuff. I'm just starting to get the itch to get the classical stuff because
Right.
again, the conversations and the collecting habits of friends then says to you,
That could
you know,
influence your
I
decision.
I think I want to get that. And that's happened on many occasions. Not just I mean just through fans of the show talking about what they got. I mean, you got that off the ground promotional box a couple years
Right.
ago. Once you showed me that,
Yep.
I'm like, I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. So like that's what
Right.
happens. What is the suitcase? Can you get the suitcase on? Like, is that for sale anymore? Like, is it on Discogs? Is there copies? Are there
I think
copies of it?
well, I mean, I did see it on Discogs because I added it to my collection. However, I didn't look to see if no, I think people are trying to sell it on Discogs. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
absolutely.
look when we finish this
You might have to
show.
look. You might have to look, my friend.
Do you, Thomas Onyati, have any buying
Yeah.
regrets?
With my collection with McCartney, no, I don't. However, I have had some with other things that I've collected. back in
Buyers
1997.
buyer's remorse.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Back in 1997, when Star Wars was celebrating its 20th anniversary, Kenner started to create a whole new Star Wars action figure line. Okay, well, I jumped in headfirst into this collection, and let me tell you what, I do not want to disclose about how much I spent, with because I just like I said, I went in head first. I was buying everything, AT-ATs, Millennium Falcons,
All that?
X-Wings,
Tell me you have it all
all
still.
20 stormtroopers, 30 Jawas, it was just something that just didn't
Why
stop.
the hell did you buy the
Um,
Jawas?
it's a part of the movie.
Oh, come on. Jawas?
So so after like a year or two of that, I just come to the conclusion that it was just all a mistake. One, it wasn't a very good line. The figures weren't movie accurate. You saw, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, they had them like a little bit more buffed up than what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were in the movie, so um yeah, it was a decision that I've come to regret. But since I've been on this McCartney kick, and the other four camps too, Beatles and the other three solo,
Of
no, I
course.
haven't had any regrets. I don't regret buying the Harrison crates. I think it's great. I love it. I don't regret buying the suitcase. Again, I think it's a great collectible. It's a great talking point. Um,
No regrets.
the cube, no, the cube. If I had bought the cube, if I was in a situation to get the cube, I don't think I would have a great.
I
I don't think I would have any regrets either.
I'm talking to you, Joe Mayo, and others. I have no regrets buying that cube. None. I love it. Those of you that want to, that want to take the piss out of me for getting it, fine. I don't. I don't. I have no regrets getting it. It's an album that I wanted to get. It's collectible, and I wanted to get it, and I have no regrets getting the cube at all. None.
Right.
Again, because there are ways to get these things now affordably.
Right.
Key thing. Big time. Even with a little
Right.
interest, like we said. So again, if these programs aren't there, I don't have I don't have the cube, the crate, probably even the singles box. If I'm being honest,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, very seldom do we have any regrets with anything we have purchased at
Right.
all, at all.
I,
So
I do I do have one. I did add a question to this list, and I
go.
would be curious to see when your answer to this is. And for you, when do you think this will all end? Will it end?
I do think it will end. It will taper off. It's going to taper off. Will it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it ever will end. Actually, I'm going to rephrase that
Right.
because if the music lives on and younger generations love it, like people like Boyan and younger people
Right.
that it will never actually die. Will it be as intense? It will be definitely less people as people age out and collections get sold
Mm-hmm.
and estate sales happen, and you'll see as first generation fans sadly pass away, you might see the market get flooded with a certain title, with certain things as time goes on. So will it ever go? I'll retract my statement. Will it ever go away? It will never go away, but it's going to be probably greatly reduced in number. Like there for every Tom and Andy and Joan and Beatley Tone, they'll be like they'll be one person to like every 10
Right.
in maybe 20 years time. I don't think it'll ever die, but but it will get less, and there'll be a lot of stuff for people to collect that will get sold, and they'll probably go to estates, and
Right.
eventually somewhere it'll go somewhere you know for,
Yep.
for
And like
somebody.
I've said in the past, I mean, if you are someone that does collect McCartney, the time is now to do it, because I do believe when that unfortunate day comes, when he passes, everything is going to skyrocket. Everything will
I
skyrocket.
mean, it's
The,
his some
the
of his stuff is so
Yes.
it's a lot now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, I
Absolutely.
mean, let's look at Lennon, right? How much Lennon stuff is pretty rare. I mean, Lennon stuff does not command big dollars right now.
Well, I mean, it has in the point. It comes and goes. I mean, it's kind of like the baseball card or the comic market, right? It comes in waves. There's peaks and valleys to collecting, just like everything.
There
There's always peaks
is. There is, but it's
You
just,
know,
it's interesting to look at those two things, like who has more collectible stuff and deluxe things and things like that. Like one of the things I talked about, I think I forget who we were talking to, like with Tug of War. Like, did you get the acrylic
right.
slipcase version of Tug of War with the archive? Because that a version of that came out
Right.
on the
No, I
archive.
didn't. I just got the right. I didn't get the mega one that's like 10 feet high. Our friend Womack, I
Flame
know he has that one. Yeah, the
Flaming
flaming.
Pie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the thing is massive.
Right.
It's like 3 feet high.
Right. We didn't, yeah,
You
that,
know,
but again,
you
things
didn't
like
get
that
that
we didn't
one.
get.
Right.
Right. But
Right.
yeah, no, that's going to be interesting to see. But no, it will never go away, but it'll just be less is what I think.
Right.
You?
Yeah. Yeah. So. If it comes a point in my life where I need like a major surgery or something like that, and if I need the money or whatever, maybe you know, if I have to sell everything, maybe. But I don't see a time where coming any time in the near future where my enjoyment of the collecting, my thrive to collect certain stuff. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the 45 thing will come to an end, within the
Yeah.
next couple years. So, but then that just means that I get heavy into something else, like the posters or badges. I mean, I just don't see a time where I'm not going to stop collecting anything McCartney.
No. Never, never,
So,
never, 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 never.
so,
So good
so
talking points
thank you,
there.
Nick. Yes, good
Yes.
talking points. Thank you, Nick, for some wonderful questions. I enjoyed this. Let us know in the comment section. Tell us, one by one, give us your answers. If you're a podcaster and if you want to do a video on this, please do. I'd love to hear other people's answers for these questions or good questions. I'd like to see other people's collecting habits. And this was great. So thank you. Andy, why don't you take a couple minutes and tell us about the little QR code above and then our Patreon as well.
Right. Well, as you know, we've had Buy Me a Coffee for some months now, and we've had some great contributions to that. Those are one-time donations to help our show. That is awesome. But really, recently, I want to thank everybody for Patreon. The Patreon subs in the last couple of weeks have been really good. Fantastic. There it is right there, Patreon. Just go to
Right,
patreon.com/Two Legs Podcast. It's there too. And those are two ways to kind of help us and support us. And if you're on Patreon, you get the shows well ahead of everybody else when our shows drop on Saturdays. To do that, you'll also get some merch too. When we've got some merch going out to
right,
some Patreon subs, some buttons, some shirts. So if you are a Patreon sub and you haven't received a shirt yet, you haven't, let us know. Email the Two Legs Podcast or email me, and we'll make sure that the MVP gets that stuff over to you. But these are both wonderful things that everybody out there has been so gracious to support us with, especially
thank you.
Patreon.
Yes, thank you.
That's recurring, and that's just tremendous. And we will be giving you new content, and we have also recently, thanks to Kyle Hand, we just launched it, but I haven't really exploded it yet. We're on Discord now too, which is another way to chat with us. A lot of kids use it for video gaming, and I'm going to have communities on that too, different channels to talk. Macca touring, Macca albums. It'll be like it's its
Right,
own basically like web hosting board, right? But it's an app. So I'll have all these different avenues on Discord, and we are on now. So if you're on Discord and you search up Two Legs Podcast, we're on there, and we can chat that way too. I mean that's anytime aside from the usual Facebook messengers and things like that too, but. Discord's great because it's instant, and you can have categories of what Macca you want to talk about, whatever, breakdown, decades, anything,
yeah,
touring, news, things like that, breaking news that we might hear and share. We might share it on Discord. So check
there
us
you
out on
go.
there too. And we just started that, and look for us on there. And thank you, Kyle, for that suggestion too. So the Discord, the Patreon, the Buy Me a Coffee, these are all kind of new modern things that kind of keep us going. And with your help and your generous donations, we're getting there, and it's helping us. We really appreciate it.
We really do. We really do. I mean, um, never, so when I started the show, did I think that people would so kindly, give any kind of support financially, and I just think it's great. Thank you again, as Andy said. That being said, Andy, you're on live on Sundays. I'm generally live on Wednesday and Thursday. So keep an eye on that. We're dropping our episodes every Saturday here and on all our audio platforms. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Two Legs Podcast, or if you want to call it X, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever.
So yeah, whatever
Um,
you want to call
So
it. What
Nashville on the
else?
horizon. We are doing a
Right.
new show at
Yes.
the end of the month. Date to be recorded with Jeff Slate on the McCartney and Bob Dylan kind of late career renaissance episode between
Yes.
both of those guys from basically Flaming Pie and Time Out of Mind in 1997 on to the present day. And boy, do we got to do our homework with that one because Jeff
Oh,
is
sweet. I've been listening to Love and Theft. Love it. Love that record.
oh good.
I had it when I had that record when it came out. Didn't care for it then, but love it now. I think it's fantastic.
I'm glad you like it, and that's going to be a wonderful conversation with Jeff. So, this is obviously dropping on Valentine's Day weekend. We're going to be in Nashville, so we might have some Nashville content for you for the next week, and then we might record Jeff at the end of February, but save it for March. That's probably how it's
Right.
looking right now. But all good stuff here in Two Legs Land, man, and
Totally. Love it.
happy that you're all here supporting us and watching us. And Tom with his chat. Tom has some great guests. Usually, sometimes he goes solo. Sometimes he has guests like Joe Wisby on there and Aaron Badgley, and he does his thing. And I do my thing with my Sunday
That's
family,
right.
and it gives us more
Kyle
of a
Han and Beatley Tone usually joins you, and that's
well,
great too.
they're going to be on this. They're going to be on tomorrow.
Yes.
They're going to be on tomorrow, and that's going to be fun. So it gives us more chances to engage with you guys and share our passions and all our geeky collecting habits and hypotheticals that we do in this world.
Good night.
So
That's
that's it,
awesome.
man. That's it.
All right, everybody. For Andy, I'm Tom, and as always, everybody out there have a great day and a beautiful night. Take care.
Bye.